Hello, everybody. My name is Kacper Gunia, and I started working with domain-driven design about 6 years ago when I first read the book and was introduced to the Blue Book by Eric Evans by some of my colleagues. And since then, it sparked my interest, and I started reading more about it. And I read other books. I also got some interest into CQRS and event sourcing. Then I attended the first DDD Europe. I think that was back in Brussels. And after that DDD Europe, I founded the domain-driven design London community, and it's been running for 4 years now. So that's one of my main contributions back to the DDD community. I'm also speaking at conferences like this one, so I'm really looking forward to it, and running some trainings at the moment, primarily remotely because of the COVID. I think the thing that sparked my interest into domain-driven design is the idea that, hey, let's build a software that's actually aligned with the business that requested to implement this software. Let's try to tackle these hard problems in a way so that we collaborate with the domain experts, learn from them what are the actual requirements from this domain, what are the problems that we need to solve. I think that's the only reason why you are writing software, is to solve business problems. And domain-driven design is focusing on that. Okay, we acknowledge there is a lot of complexity in software, so let's try to find this common language with business people, with technical people, and build a software that's aligned with these business domains. So this is what really interests me and fascinates me about it. So I really want to help business and deliver businesses value by doing my work, and I believe doing a domain-driven design approach helps that, because we just have this common language, and we know that hopefully we are solving the right problems and delivering the right thing. For me, the key point is this collaboration with domain experts, talking to them, making sure that you are talking the same language, you are solving this right problem. So using collaborative modeling techniques like event storming, for example, I think that's one of the best things that people can do when they are starting to work with business experts. And I would totally recommend that. Also, by extending this practice, if you talk the same language with your domain experts, then you will be able to, for example, ask your domain experts to help you contribute and look at for example, at the code. I had situations back in the day where I was working with some product people and domain experts, and I asked them, okay, look, I have this hard problem to solve. I don't know what the output should be. This is what I'm trying to do. And I literally showed them the code that was using the language that they were using, and they were able to look at it and tell me, okay, actually, this is what should happen. And that was like an aha moment for me. It's like, it really does work, right? We don't have to translate things here. And these people can, in a meaningful way, contribute into actual technical solutions. So I think that's the key for me, is to speak the same language with these business people that you use in the code, and use these collaborative modeling approaches, creative collaboration in general, to talk to the domain experts. I think like with startups, it might be challenging, because if you are a startup, or if you founded a startup, you really need to figure out what kind of problem you need to solve first. So if you don't have the domain experts in-house yet, but you have, for example, your target users, talk to them. Maybe they are not, experts as such, but they will tell you, okay, what they need and what is the value that you can provide to them, and try to solve their problems again and again, not technical problems, and instead deliver value to your users, and see if you can do it this way. But I agree that it might be easier to do domain-driven design in established domains or large domains in large companies where the domains are really large and broad and so on. And I think it also plays to the fact that you shouldn't be doing domain-driven design everywhere. It's not like it's an approach that is going to solve every problem, and it requires significant investment up front. And I want to be honest with people that if you have simple problems, or if you don't know what kind of problem you are solving, just do the simplest possible thing, and then refine that in the future once you learn that where is the actual challenge and where is the core value or the core domain of your company. Again, I already mentioned the collaboration with domain experts, but especially in financial companies and so on, you need to build up this domain knowledge. So I would suggest to start with that. Although I haven't done this personally, I know people in the DDD community that were working in the finance industry. So before they actually went and implemented the software, they went on to like accounting courses or things like that to learn the language and become a little bit domain experts themselves, to be able to actually solve the problems for these domain experts. So I would encourage people to learn about the domains. And it's not like you will become domain experts or you will be an expert in every possible part of the enterprise, because it's, these are the companies that have like thousands or hundreds of thousands of people working for them. But at least in your niche, learn about it, talk to your domain experts, ask them what are the real problems that they want you to solve. And I would encourage you also to try to be, instead of, there is a guy that wrote a book with Nick Tune, Scott Millett, PPP of DDD. And what Scott is saying is that what he wants his developers to be problem solvers, not order takers. So whenever someone asks you, can you deliver this task for me, or can you make this change, try to have the conversation with them and ask, what is the actual value behind that? Start small with things like that, and then we'll build up the trust. That way you will be able to, they will be coming to you with actual problems, not technical solutions that they want you to implement. Yeah, that would be my suggestion, like how to approach. Use the same language as they are using. Make sure that you're not doing some stupid translations in the code. Or if you are implementing a game, call it a game or call a board and not something else, right? And simple things like that will help a lot. The topic of my presentation is the domain-driven design modeling process. And what I want you to present with is really give you some recipes on how to solve the challenge that I had myself. 5 years ago, when I started working for one of my clients, we were kicking off a big project with multiple people. We were rewriting a massive part of legacy software. And I was asking myself and other people a question, okay, we know DDD is the right approach here, but what should we do? What are the steps that we need to take to go from, like, this is the kickoff meeting to like working software a couple of months later down the line. So with this talk, I want you to present with the stages. Okay, how we can actually start, understand a little bit about the business, then go about exploring the problem space of the domain using event storming. How from this event storming we can start identifying the domain boundaries, maybe the context boundaries as well. How do we then take this context and make sure, okay, we're not making some like very stupid modeling decisions to start with, validate this context. Then how we go about maybe a little bit, how do we design teams that can deliver this context, how we can design this context in detail, what are the actual models, aggregates, entities, and whatnot. So this should give you the steps that you can potentially follow. It's not going to be, this is the process and you should follow that, because it's always very contextual depending on what you do and where you are with your software delivery. But at least I want you to be aware of these techniques, so that when you face a problem, and for example, when you're asking yourself a question, what are the subdomains in this domain? What are the problems worth solving? What is the core domain? You will know what are the tools that you can use to answer this question. So that's the goal of my talk. That's what I want you to have as a takeaway after attending the talk. What I really look forward to is to meet the community, to learn what kind of approaches you are using. Because, I've been in my small bubble here in London and working with the people that I work with, and we have our ways of solving problems. So that's what I want to do, is to get to know you, what kind of tools, approaches you are using, what kind of struggles that you have as well, because I'm sure that you have some challenges that you are trying to solve, and enjoy it this way. So thank you very much for the invitation. So we'll have our first DDD Taiwan conference on November 27th and the 28th. We invite you to come and join us. Yao Lai Yo.